In this video, this is a very special video for me, and actually for the Ummahfc camp. We looked into our archives, and we found some film of a fighter that is no longer with us. He was legendary, and this is some of the only footage that can be found of him from anyone other than his teacher. But we have some footage, and we had some footage, and thought it was about time that we exposed this footage to the public. The first thing I wanted to say before I give the name of this in particular gentleman is to say that we are against certain movements. In particularly myself, because I'm the face of the Ummahfc camp, but we as a team, the Ummahfc camp, are against certain movements. I spoke out about the movement where we talked about boxing should be something, the movement against, of which I spoke about, where the idea was boxing should be this thing where you just move around and you try to outpoint the person in front of you without any attempt to just end the fight by way of KO or TKO. I'm also against the movement that looks at certain people who actually have almost no real good experience in karate, right? And I put Taekwondo in that area. And yet they are the spokespeople. And so when I come out and I talk about people like Joe Rogan, a person who will throw a kick in a movie in a radio studio, when people will say, "Oh, look at that," "Oh, he's fantastic," or he will in New England, which is not too far from New York City, will win a Taekwondo tournament, but never go down into the ghetto where there are blacks and Hispanics and poor whites in the ghetto of New York, Brooklyn, Bronx, and Harlem, and fight those fighters. But he will wear a 2-inch thick chest protector and fight in a tournament in the beautiful suburbs where there's no competition, no punches to the head, and then people sit and say, "Oh, he is a spokesperson for karate or Taekwondo." In the 1970s, there were people in California like Chuck Norris and Joe Louis and Bill Wallace, and these people were known, and they were known more than the gentleman I'm going to introduce you to, in particularly because, one, they were not black. There are people in the publication industry who made it known that people like Victor Moore, a black man who beat Chuck Norris and beat Joe Louis, a man by the name of Howard Jackson, people like that rarely were on a cover of Karate Illustrated because simply people just wouldn't buy it. And this is a fact. So there are some people who may say, "Well, why is he saying that?" Because I am building up to what I'm going to present to you. All the while, people were getting publicity on the East Coast or on the West Coast of the United States and in Europe. There were people that were fighting on the East Coast in the United States, in the New York area, the New Jersey, New York area, who were some of the most devastating fighters in the history of karate. These particular fighters, most of them didn't have the money to buy beautiful protective equipment, which at that time there was a monopoly on protective equipment that was designed by the name of Hoon Rhee. He made safety kick and safety punch. In the 70s, a whole set, the hands and the feet, not even the headgear, was $25, which was more than many people could afford back then in the inner city. So most of the fighters back then in the 70s fought bare knuckle. Without any headgear. All they had maybe was a mouthpiece, and many of them didn't even have a mouthpiece. Okay? So the fact of the matter is some of the toughest fighters came from the gritty northeast of the United States. One of those fighters is the man I'm going to introduce you to. This man fought in point tournaments, but he was often disqualified in point tournaments. One time there was a tournament where a lot of people complained about losing points. So a man by the name of Fred Hamilton said, well, you know what I'm going to do is I am going to have a tournament that is full contact, bare knuckle. Everything goes. You can poke to the eyes, right? You can kick to the groin. You can pick people up and throw them off stage because it was done on the stage. The bouts were fought on the stage. You couldn't wear a gi, but it was full contact, bare knuckle, everything goes. Only protective equipment you could wear was a protector, a groin protector, and a mouthpiece. That was it, right? No juniors, no peewees, no females, only men, and only black belts. In the average big tournament, you can have, just in the black belt division, lightweight, middleweight, light heavyweight, heavyweight, if you have all 4 divisions, in the senior divisions, in the senior category, for men only, you can have maybe 100 black belts. For this full contact bare knuckle tournament in 1975 in Harlem, New York, only 21 competitors showed up. The lightweight champion is the man I'm going to introduce you to now. His name was Happy Robot Crump. He got his name Robot from a style that was taught to him that came originally from the KA system of karate, which was comprised of 25 styles. His style was the robot style, and he became synonymous with the robot style. His heyday was around the 70s, the decade of the 70s. The footage I am going to present to you is from 1987 at a promotion. As I've said before, it is the only real footage of him on social media today that has been posted. The rest of the footage, other footage, is actually owned by his teacher, and maybe, perhaps, I hope that eventually that footage will be put out. But this is footage of him still not past his prime, but at least about 10 years, after his fighting prime, but you can see really what he did. All right, so we're going to show you him going through his techniques en route to a Dan promotion. He was already black belt, Dan promotion, and you're going to see him doing the robot to music, which was very famous back then. The KA system was training to music long before most of these other people were doing it. They were some of the first to train to music in the 1960s. And then you will see him sparring and demonstration. All right. Afterwards, I will show you some photos of him winning the lightweight division of the full contact, bare knuckle, everything goes. One of the only, if not the only, recorded mainstream full contact Valley Hudo, if that's how you pronounce it. Some people say it's not how you pronounce it. That's how I pronounce it. Everything goes, right? Tournament ever held in the United States that wasn't underground, all right? And he was a lightweight champion. So, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you someone who I had the pleasure of interviewing before his death and meeting him and talking to him in depth before his death. Happy Robot Crump. Enjoy.